Welcome back to another episode of Paladin Financial Talk, our weekly podcast where we talk about the important financial topics that impact you, your family, and our future. So, again, Nikki Foley here, host today. I'm on my own. I have no Tony Shore with me and none of my peers. But today we're going to talk. We just entered into March, and so we're going to take time to honor and celebrate Women's History Month. And our goal is just to take time simply to recognize the incredible contributions women have made throughout history and the vital role women continue to play as we are shaping our world around us. So, when we think about Women's History Month, we often look at pioneers who have broke political barriers or science or business barriers, things like Amelia Earhart, Maya Angelou, names that you recognize. All of those women have led the way to follow their dreams and carve out their own paths. But today we want to bring this back to the financial side of things and talk about the financial future of women, something that's close to our hearts, clearly here at Paladin. And women now more than ever are taking control of their financial destinies and in making important strides in the worlds of investing and saving and building wealth. And that looks different for every individual. But I really want to take time and focus on this financial side of things. And as we talk about and blend this with the Women's History Month. Last year I did a presentation for a group of women. And one of the things in preparation for that, I ran across an article that was done by Tory Burch. And so many of you may know that name. She is an American fashion designer, a businesswoman. She's highly philanthropic. And so she's known most notably for her luxury brand of clothing under her name, Tory Burch. Anyway, I was reading an article and it coincided with the 50th anniversary of the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. And at that moment in time, it really spoke to me because I could imagine some of the things that she was describing. She is probably a decade older than me, but she was reflecting on the meaning of the Equal Credit Opportunity Act and the time she was talking about. So it was last year, we were celebrating that 50th anniversary. And so the time was 1974. And at that point, banks required women to have a male cosigner for credit cards, loans, and mortgages. And while I wasn't born at that time, that was right. It was right before my brother was born, and then I shortly after. And I was thinking about my mother and what her situation was at that time. And without credit, a woman really couldn't secure a loan. They couldn't invest in their own education. They couldn't buy a home. They couldn't build assets and wealth that we know today. And I think about how important that Equal Credit Opportunity Act was for a woman at that time. It was not only a signal or a symbol of financial freedom, but it was also of freedom in general and decision making these women could do once that was passed. And it just seems quite fascinating to me to think, 19, I don't feel very old yet. I'm getting there, but to think about where my mother was at that point in time and was preparing, the journey of her life of starting kids and things of that nature, and quite a claustrophobic feeling if you didn't have some of those freedoms that we know today. And so it's no surprise that we have come a long way since something like that has passed. And there's a lot to celebrate, but there's also, and you will see these statistics in a lot of places, there's also a lot of opportunity that we still have. And so it's always appropriate to start with the wins. And I think to start with celebrating some of the things like that 50th anniversary last year of the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, but also focusing on the trajectory and continuing with that momentum of change. And so starting with some wins here, 80% of women are comfortable leading short-term financial planning activities in their life. And I would say at Paladin Financial, that is very in line with what we see in relationships that come into our organization. Is oftentimes both parties are involved with the finances, and we see that each person takes a portion and has ownership. And oftentimes it is the female that's in there, or one of the partners in there, that is focusing on the day-to-day activities of the household. And it's the person buying the groceries, it's the person signing kids up for activities, it's the person planning vacations. All of those come back to a financial decision. Those very often fall to the female or the woman in the relationship. Now, when we get into the long term financial planning, such as investing, we oftentimes see that that falls to not necessarily the same partner in the partnership. And in a traditional couple, we oftentimes times see that falls to the man. And so the numbers that are out there actually support that as well, saying that only 23% of women are comfortable leading the long term financial planning decisions, such as investing. And so while we have made such good strides, and we know that oftentimes the woman in the relationship, when you have a traditional partnership, it is often the woman is leading the day-to-day activities, where in fact the men are doing some of the longer term planning. And so I think there is still an opportunity to move the needle on that number of 23% and move that into a place where women are doing much more of the long term financial planning. Now, what I've talked about today, I'm very aware as we have talked about traditional partnerships, and that's not the world that we're living in. So it's certainly not the case for a lot of couples. There is a lot of women that have taken on that long term financial planning role within a partnership or on their own, but using basic statistics that are out there and also supporting what we see on a day-to-day basis. This is still an opportunity, and one that would be great if we can start moving that number. Other things to celebrate is women are starting businesses at a faster rate than men. And so it's actually growing at 5 times faster than the national average. And that just shows us how much women are stepping into their power on the financial landscape. One of the things that points out to me, and this is where an opportunity still comes in. So even though there is progress on that, there are still challenges. Statistics show that women are more likely than men to face obstacles related to gender pay gap, longer life expectancy, and the need to take career breaks for caregiving responsibilities and so forth. So even though we are seeing so much growth in the women-owned businesses, we still may run into some of those challenges. And things that I like to see, and it kind of brings it back to the practical application of things, is as women are starting businesses, they are taking control of that gender pay gap right in front of them. And I love that that is something that is can be impacted by all of these small businesses, as equaling out that gender pay gap in that small business environment. Doesn't mean that we can solve for all the things like career breaks for caregiving responsibilities and so forth, but a big piece of where my background is and where I like to spend my time with our clients is on that forward thinking of, if you have a small business owner, how are we set up? How do we create succession for them? And so that it is not a situation where, even if they choose to be a business owner, that there's an opportunity for them still to take care and do the things like the caregiving responsibilities, and the business can run on their own. So at Paladin Financial, we really are looking at the financial side, but we recognize that there are so many different aspects that go into this. And again, the whole point of this episode this week is to focus on women and how we can continue to help with those gaps that may still be out there, and look at them not necessarily as gaps, but as opportunities. So I think the exciting part as we talk about this is it's never too late to take control of your financial future. As a financial advisor, our goal really is to help women at every stage of their financial journey, whether somebody is just starting their career, they're managing a family budget, maybe they're planning for retirement or growing wealth. I mean, that is our job, is to be there in all phases of life and to help guide in that respect. There is so much satisfaction in being able to help somebody when they are in a period of transition, and then continuing to stick with them so that they can realize all of those wins that they are having. I walk out oftentimes of meetings. I was with somebody yesterday that was preparing for retirement, and one of the key pieces as people retire is, what is my health insurance going to look like and how much is that going to cost me? And I was with a couple, that small business owner, and the wife was preparing to retire. She'd always held the insurance and just starting to get a comfort level with what her options were as she is leading into retirement. Now, she may be 6 months out, she may be 9 months out, but being able to get some really good information and financial information into that decision making process is our job all day. And again, it can show up in a lot of different phases of life, but having a partner who can bring some additional thought to the conversation is what we do in many of our meetings along the way. And so we do feel strongly about closing the gap on some of those opportunities I've talked about today. And frankly, it's our job to do this. And I don't believe we have to do all of this in a meeting room. And so while that's what a lot of times meeting with a financial advisor does take place in a conference room, and you're spending time on your individual situation. But I think there's a great way for us to do that in a more relaxed environment as well. And so as we go into Women's History Month, our team got together and talked a lot more about how can we have a greater impact on our community? How can we have a greater impact in the women around us? And so it was just this week, in the spirit of Women's History Month, that we talked about doing something greater in our community. And anybody that spent time with me knows that I really value community, and it is our goal to educate. And that is something that is that really rings true to my husband, and the education piece of what we do here at Paladin Financial. But we want to do it in an environment where people get to be exactly who they are, in a welcoming atmosphere where they can connect and have a little fun along the way. And so hopefully anybody that's listening to this and has interacted with us, some of those words ring true, and you know that's who we are. So community and education and welcoming and connecting and fun, and wrapping all those together. So with that in mind, we are introducing a series of events in our community starting in late April. We are inviting women to join us for an intimate yet empowering gathering where we can come together and have a little bit of fun, all while learning about finance in this supportive environment. These are going to be very small groups, and it's going to start with our clients. And we are inviting them to bring a friend, and we are going to empower. We're going to talk about financial knowledge, share experiences, have a great time together. And let me tell you about the first one that we're going to do. First of all, these will be posted on our website, and those are coming soon. It is going to be a first come, first serve with our female clients, and community members can join as a friend of a client. And so we are kicking off with April Showers Brings May Flowers themed party. It's going to be here. We are in the Shoreview, Minnesota, so the Twin Cities area. We are going to be very near our office, but we are really looking forward to that. And so that's going to be in late April, maybe beginning of May there, but that'll be announced, like I said, on our website. Late summer, we already have figured out we are going to do a yoga party with a book swap. And then our list is long. We had so much fun going through this because there's so much we can do together. And so we have an volunteer opportunity coming up. We have a painting party. We have a holiday themed party where we're going to learn to professionally gift wrap and tie bows. And there is no better way to tackle some of these gaps and look at them as opportunities and continue to encourage and grow within the space of finance. And so really looking forward to how Paladin Financial can impact our community, can impact the women around us, our clients, friends of our clients. And we want this to be really inclusive. And so we encourage, as we wrap up today and finish talking about this episode, we encourage you to take a moment to reflect on your financial goals and think about how you can make strides towards those. Maybe it's setting up a simple retirement account. You haven't taken that step. Maybe it's creating a budget. Everybody feels a certain way about budgets. It doesn't have to be super structured, but it maybe is just focusing on your trends and making some small tweaks related to that. Or it could be setting up an appointment with a financial advisor and seeing what that's all about, or just simply educating yourself with a good book that's easy to read and easy to follow along. So remember, women's financial empowerment isn't about reaching a specific goal. And that's not necessarily what I'm asking you today, but it's about having the confidence and the ability to make informed decisions that affect your life today, that impact your family, and hopefully will last for years to come. So with all of that, to all the women listening, or if you aren't a female listening, but you think a woman in your life could really appreciate and learn something from this episode, we celebrate you. We celebrate your achievements and your potential. And if you ever need advice or a helping hand, that is the role of Paladin Financial. And we want to be that person for you. We are here for you. We're here to support you. You have got this. And we are excited to be able to have your back. So thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for listening to this special episode. The entire month of March is going to be dedicated to women and finance, and we are going to have some spectacular guests that bring this back to the investing side, that help you understand some of the roads in the past that they have gone. And we couldn't be more excited to have wonderful women like that in our world and to be able to share them with you. So we hope you have a wonderful Women's History Month, and here's to many more milestones ahead. Until next time, take care. We're building the future together and the future you deserve. And if you want to partner with us or like to have additional conversations, call us here at Paladin Financial, 651-842-8406, or visit our website at paladinfinancial.com. Always follow along on social media, and we look forward to connecting with you.